Welcome to Maximizing the Premium Suite Experience in 2021. And we will be talking about a new way of ordering for suite guests, which you might or might not have seen before, but we're excited to present to you our solution. So before we begin, there's some housekeeping items. First of all, we will be sending out a full recording and this presentation deck at the end of the session. So as long as you have signed up, or if you have people you think will benefit from this session and you want to forward this to them, you will be receiving a recording in your inbox afterwards. You can submit your questions at any time during the webinar using the chat function at the bottom of the screen. We will answer them at the end and email you a full Q&A response, so you will not be missing out. You can submit questions at any time, so you don't have to wait until the end to do so, but we will be only answering them at the end. So I'm Isabella, I'm the moderator of the day. So I will be the one asking questions and keeping time check on these two guys over here. So, but they will be the panelists of the day. Carson and Drake, my colleagues and dear friends who have had tons of experience working with stadium partners, especially in the premium suite area. So I'll be asking questions to them. And Carson, Drake, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. Carson Goodell, co-founder and chief strategy officer at FanFood. Started the business, wow, geez, over 6 years ago, and really excited to share how our technology solution can add value for premium suite customers today. So, Drake.
Yeah, so Drake Orser, one of our heads of partner customer success, really specialized in this space, sports and entertainment. So all of our new partners and to be new partners, you'll be seeing my face a lot. I am tasked with and enjoy the task of making sure that we get you guys onboarded effectively, efficiently, set you up for success, and of course, continued success through best practices, feature updates, continued trainings, all of the fun strategy that goes into making sure that this is, again, a successful process for you.
Both of them are really champions of our partners, and without them, our technology platform is just a platform, but with them, they can really work magic at any venue that we partner with. So thank you for joining us today. And here's a quick overview of what FanFood is, in case any of you are not familiar. So we're the quickest and easiest online and mobile ordering platform for all kinds of venues. So think stadiums, schools, arenas, convention centers, theaters, you name it. Where there's food and there's people, there's a use case for FanFood. So we enable all kinds of ordering options. That includes pre-ordering before an event, instant ordering. You can offer pickup or delivery to any designated location on premise. And of course, today we'll be focusing on premium suite ordering. So we are partnered with over 300 locations globally. Most of the use case would be concession stand mobile ordering. But given, last year most events were canceled, and this year people have a higher emphasis on contactless ordering, we expanded our product offerings to premium suites area as well, just in time for the sports season this year. So we're super excited about that. So as you can see, our solution covers all sort of sections within your venue, be it general admissions or club seating or premium suites. Whatever your need is, there is an integrated solution within FanFood for that. If you want to visit our website, that's fanfood.app.com. If you want to get in touch and learn more, our team will promptly respond. No commitment needed. Just go to fanfood.app/start. So that's an overview of FanFood. And here are some of our partners. As you can see, we do span a pretty wide spectrum of different markets. Over 300 locations covering sports, D1 colleges, high schools, minor league sports, entertainment sectors, even hospitality. And we are official partners of some of the most premier tech solutions. Here's today's agenda. So we will start off with a panelist session where I will be grilling Carson and Drake some of the common questions that we receive from people interested in mobile ordering solutions. And then we will show you a walkthrough of what this new suite ordering experience looks like from both a guest perspective and an operator perspective. And then we will tell you how to get started if you're interested to learn more or interested to bring FanFood to your venue. And we will end it with a Q&A session. So again, a reminder, send your questions whenever you feel like it, and we will get to them towards the end. So first up, here's something that we see a lot of people discussing, and also a question that we get a lot. Why should teams and venues focus on premium suites this year? We know it's always been a huge revenue generator, but why specifically this year? What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I love this question, and I think, you know, as venues are planning on to reopen at limited capacities, we felt at FanFood it was extremely important to focus in on the most valuable and sometimes most loyal customer base, right? In order to provide a unique opportunity to really drive incremental dollars on purchases that not only help support social distancing, but really streamline that entire ordering process so that guests don't really have to stick their heads out, right, of the suites to wave down an attendant. So we felt that this provided kind of that unique opportunity and something that, you know, we really wanted to focus in on. And as a way to start to really build up a solid relationship, it could be overwhelming sometimes for venues to adopt a full scale cashless environment and experience inside general concession stands. And this is also a way for you guys to kind of get started leveraging the platform and everything that has to offer while working on a plan to really go full cashless. This is a nice, really phase one, step one approach.
Yeah. Can I jump in too, Isabella?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Because I love this stuff. Like many of us who work in sports and entertainment, I just think it's really interesting to watch trends and see what some of our partners and even in some cases competing venues and teams are doing. I think all of us can probably admit that whether we're looking at revenue from TV deals, if we have that opportunity, merchandise, licensing, national sponsorships, whatever it might be, a large part of our reoccurring revenue comes from our premium areas and our luxury suites. So I think that has to do with one, the space, the hospitality, the entertainment aspect there. But myself coming from a ticket sales background, we know that in a lot of cases, groups can help sustain our teams in down years, or in some cases coming out of down years. And if we tie that to this year, you know, I think suites they present a kind of a cool opportunity, unique opportunity to allow for that intimate sort of separate or controlled environment that some of our attendees and fans, although we have an appetite to get back to games, are still wary of. We're wanting that experience. Suites too, when we think beyond just food and beverage, you know, there's a mindset around suites presenting us, as well as our premium areas, presenting us with expand seating options. I think this has been a long time coming, but the pandemic has certainly kind of expedited this diversification in some of our spaces and how we think about some of our spaces in stadiums. Whether it's a large party space that services up to 150 to 200 people that we can socially distance comfortable, or even include partitions to separate these groups now into smaller groups, 10, 12, 14, and service them again on that more intimate level. And lastly, what I think is great too is I think the pandemic has allowed us in sports to sort of lose the potential narrow-sightedness of suites being a good time during the game and start to think of our suites as multi-purpose. So how can we drive revenue? How can we get our suite holders, renters, and buyers into the venue and into that space beyond just the game? So I think a lot of this is coming to a culmination or a head. And I, again, am excited to see how that plays.
Yeah.
I love that. So you mentioned diversification. Would you care to elaborate more on that point? Do you mean specifically how teams are, you know, repurposing the space, or does it also come with the services or products they're selling at the suites? What sort of ways can teams diversify their suite offerings? I love that point.
Yeah. Can I keep going?
Yes.
Awesome. So I think one, it's looking at our space. So for many of our partners, we might be in that typical suite size of 10 to 12 to 15. Maybe we have more of that party deck or premium area. So again, these, depending on how we approach them, give us a unique way to anticipate that controlled environment, or use those partitions to sort of separate our sizes, how many folks we're getting into our suite space. The other side of the coin is what's happening when they're in there. I think all of us who have attended a game or been in a suite have had that sort of impulse when we're in the suite where we want that dessert cart that we didn't pre-order and now we want it. And we're approaching the seventh inning quickly. And how do I get a hold of my suite attendant? Well, by leveraging, which Carson will get into, some QR codes in suite, we can take advantage of those impulse purchases. That even overlooks the pre-order side. So for our venue operators, how can we make not the broken process, but I would argue the highly ineffective or inefficient process of getting a suite order from a renter or leaser before that event? How can we make that more efficient and effective so we know what we need to plan for, both from a body standpoint and inventory standpoint, as we look towards that busy weekend of events?
Mm-hmm.
So we've had conversations with suite managers last year as well, or 2019 before COVID started, where we were, in the early stages of exploring how can we make ordering better for suites. How have you guys observed the conversation or even concerns that have shifted on the side of the operators and suite managers? How have the conversations been different before 2020 and this year?
Yeah, I mean I think that the idea of accepting technologies to improve processes and improve the game day experience is just kind of at the forefront of everything what we're doing. What was once talk about like what did the fan experience look like pre-pandemic versus kind of now and in the future ahead. And I think it just really provides unique opportunities to improve the overall game day experience. And how can we leverage technology to do that, right? Drake, I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I'd add too, even as specific as what we're offering for our food and beverage. The buffet style might not be as widely accepted as we enter at least what's right in front of us in 2021. So we start to think of more of an a la carte or an individual purchasing behavior of some of our guests. I think it'll be unique to see how that plays out. But as we all know, through what we experienced in 2020, is that a lot of our states are handling some of the guidance and restrictions differently. So it's been fun for myself and Carson and all of our team members to work with our partners to establish what are the restrictions that we're under, especially as it relates to food and beverage on game day. How could we package that and then use our technology in terms of fan food from pre-order versus in venue or those impulse purchases to make sure that you're still providing that prompt experience.
Love it. And we'll totally get to that in detail later. So here's another one for you. What areas of improvement do you think exist at a premium suite? We know it's a VIP experience. These guests are really well taken care of, but are there things that we can still do better or help our partners do even better to generate more revenue and really keep these high value guests around? What do you guys think?
I mean, I think this is a pretty unique one. I mean, Drake, I'm going to let you take this and talk a little bit about like what has that suite experience look like? And what is that process look like, and start to kind of lay the framework for how the technology improves those overall processes.
Yeah, and honestly, it's almost we can all picture it. Those of us who have worked in premium seating, whether it's on the service side or the sales side, we know that process or the excitement of a seller selling a rental suite just to know now I need to work on collecting menus from my group, or I need to get my point of contact who might not be the person who actually purchased the suite. So there's a very meticulous level of communication that takes place post-sale. And a lot of our suite service teams and concession managers know that process and know that it is not fun in a lot of cases. Like we see there, the lengthy PDF menus, faxing menus back and forth. Gosh, we have some partners where they're quite literally just circling the packages or the options that they want, taking a picture of that and sending it back to that suite or to that suite server or that team. Also, the visual representation, which I think plays to anything that's moving digital, it's a digital menu board. You're providing now your user, your suite guest, with the elevated experience of actually seeing graphics, pictures, interaction, what's coming with the package or the options that they're selecting. Part of that as well is tying in opportunities for us as venue partners and operators to more appropriately and effectively upsell and cross-sell, tie certain packages together. Hey, this package, we find that frequently customers are buying this alcohol or beverage package in addition, or this dessert cart. So there's very effective opportunities here in terms of replacing the PDF communication. The other is the back and forth, which all of us know the back and forth creates time, and time is money, especially when we're looking at baseball, where we have, in this case, a lot of our minor league and semi-professional teams, 6-game homestands coming up this year. 6 games in a row. We cannot afford to have the back and forth when we're trying to collect menus and get our suite guests set up. So trying to replace that and getting into what we'll talk about here in a moment, utilizing our pre-order landing page, as we call it. So replace the PDF with a link that allows your user now, your purchaser, to browse all of those menus opportunities digitally. And then Carson, I'll let you do the server part because I know you're going to jump into that. But again, taking advantage of in-suite ordering.
Mm-hmm. And we'll dive a little bit about, we'll kind of get into the how we go about executing that and the process and the steps that we take to really streamline that in a bit. So yeah, that was great.
What do you think are the substantial benefits that's going to bring to venues by eliminating all these frictions and by making the process faster? What are the actual tangible benefits that we can see our partners get by simplifying this whole experience for both guests and operators?
Yeah, I mean, I think like short term, to keep it simple, is like just the overall improvement in guest ordering experience, and then now providing a la carte purchases for guests on game day, and improving that that experience for the executive assistant that is reserving their concession suite packages in advance, and just kind of improving that experience. So that's a little bit hard to tie, right? Like material benefits to. But longer term, I do see the opportunities in like streamlining your operations. Do you need to have, this suite attendant for, typically it's every 3 or every 5 suites? Well, now you can start to really challenge that kind of status quo and maybe even look to reduce the staffing required to operate and by leveraging this platform. I think that becomes, again, as you get more comfortable with leveraging the platform, you'll start to kind of take those natural steps, in probably something that happens over time and not something that's like immediate. But I definitely see you start to, achieve some of those efficiencies there for sure. And then I think like just the you get smarter, right, about what you're selling. I think Drake hit it on the head. You really start to see from a data perspective what types of customers are purchasing, things during an event, and how do you improve that? And I think that the data that we are starting to collect is really really valuable long term as well. And I think that has implications for your sponsors and everything down the road too. So
yeah, I love that. I mean, to piggyback on Carson, it's being more intentional in every aspect of how we service our suites, whether it's staffing, both pre-event as we're prepping our orders, or during our event, how we're assigning our suite attendants to service the suites that they're in charge of. Mm-hmm. We also think about the experience for a full-length leaseholder. For example, Carson brought up our executive assistant, who, like many of us know, is typically the one who's in charge of placing suite orders. Well, what if, as we're looking at the length of the season, we're not going to attend every game? We have clients who are attending, or we have employees that are attending, and menus might change. Well, now what we do specifically on the pre-order side and with a landing page is you're empowering that suite customer, that user, to have access to all of that at their fingertips and make changes as the season is progressing. Again, eliminating some of the friction points that we find in terms of the back and forth communication that might be necessary when menus are changing or if different folks are going to be in the suite. And that's another benefit. This gives us an opportunity to know who is with us on game day, because that's a hard part with suites right now. We know who a suite leaser or renter or buyer is, but we also know that they're not attending all of the games. In some cases, maybe not any. So this gives us an opportunity to learn about who's with us on game day.
That's a very good point, because every time they place an order in suite, they have to give us their information about who they are in order for the order to go through, and that way we can actually. That's a really good point that I think a lot of the operators might not be thinking about yet, but soon they will, because we're going to dive into the meat of the part of the meat part of the presentation, which is what does the actual solution look like? We've given a lot of context around why we think there's a need for an ordering platform like this. And now we're actually going to walk you through what that solution actually looks like. So it comes in two parts. The first one is before an event. This is really to simplify the whole process of booking a meal package or merchandise or suite services, you name it, before the guests actually show up on game day. So again, as Drake and Carson mentioned, currently what is being done is PDF menus, back and forth emails. Why not just send them a web URL, a link that they can just go to, look at all the meal packages that are, in photos, very appealing, and just add to the cart and check out from there. It's definitely stress-free, more seamless, and it's faster operations, and potentially can save you a lot of time for your staff to take the back and forth orders. And we'll get to that later, but at this stage, the suite holder can even add a credit limit for the entire suite to spend on game day, which is a very important feature that we'll dive in deeper later. So that's the first part, the pre-booking part. And the second part is on-demand in-suite ordering during the event. This is designed especially for the guests themselves who will actually be in the suite, like Drake mentioned. So every suite will have an individual QR code that they can, order while at the game if they want additional items. And then kitchen instantly receives the orders and prepare for them. So this step bypasses the need for a server very often. So this is the comprehensive solution that's fully integrated, and we will dive into each part of the two parts next up. So first of all, before an event, what does that experience look like for a suite holder or whoever is going to be booking a meal? Carson or Jake? Jake?
I'm happy to jump on this one.
Mhm.
So again, it's one of those things we've all been there. We know what the current experience looks like. So I don't know that we have to spend a ton of time on it. Instead, and I have to catch myself too, because I like to call the process broken. And it's not broken because we're getting by doing it. But why do we want to just get by? And I think if 2020 has shown us anything, it's that we need to start embracing technology. And in some cases, it's actually given us an opportunity to embrace technology. Some of our lesson crowds, although we want as many people back into the building as possible, ban restrictions present us with an opportunity to test, try different things.
Mhm.
So when we focus on what's happening now in terms of our process is very simply put, we want this unique URL link that is provided to that new suite buyer or renter to replace the back and forth PDF sending. So instead of sending the PDF, thanks for joining our family, the team, we're really excited to have you guys out for this, that, or the other event. Now we're sending a link. What's great about this link is it opens the door, as Isabella has alluded to the digital experience of bringing your menu to life. But that link, when we think about who's attending the event and who's buying, that link can also be shared with the guests who might be attending versus the one who purchased. So as we really, really hammer communication, there's a major streamline effect here. Starting to get into the nitty gritty of how our product works, as you can see there in our bullets, logging into our system, we do this just simply using phone number. So in one theory, what we would do is we would add that suite guest or suite customer into our system, which then allows them, when presented with that link, to have their access code, in other words, to get into the system. And that's what you see there for our order.fanfoodapp.com link. Now we could create, and this is credit to Isabella as well, unique links or vanity links that could be tailored to your venue as well. Step two, this gets into our login process. So just to preface, so what we're seeing right now is for a suite buyer. That's the experience that we're seeing. So I just purchased. I've now received my welcome email or my welcome letter that provided me with my link to now access the digital fan food menu. This is what we would see when we go to enter our phone number. What you'll do is you'll be prompted to enter your phone number, and instead of creating a password, you'll actually receive a 6-digit code. That code acts as your PIN so that you can get into the system. Now, the good news about the code, sorry, Isabel, I'm throwing you for a loop. The good news about the code when we think about data and collection is, we think about a suite user or a suite guest. We don't want them to be prompted to enter all this information right away. Because I think any of us especially with how digital the rest of life is moving, we are conscious of, I don't want to sign up for new things. What's great about our system here, though, is as we include the phone number and then prompt email address and some of that general basic information, this is not to spam or to market to you. This is so that that user can get up-to-date status updates of how their order is going. Where is it in terms of what we would call the fulfillment process, which could mean kitchen received your order, kitchen is fulfilling your order's on its way. So that's the extent of the communication that they'll receive and why we need that phone number to be able to keep them up to speed. Here is what I think is the coolest part, especially in terms of our operations team and the work that they put into, I use that phrase, kind of bringing your menu to life. So when we're training and we're talking about strategy, I love this because a lot of times what our partners do is they send us their PDF menu, their Excel file, whatever their suite menu looks like, and our team dumps it into our system. We'll get your stock images, whether it's images that we share or have versus images that you guys might have. We have a couple of partners that actually do a photo shoot, and we can upload those images for you. What I think is just great, though, is for us as venue partners and operators, when you see this for the first time, it's really cool. I mean, you intrinsic or immediately, you want to be able to explore, see how all of this is looking and feeling. And ultimately, if we're excited about it, think about how that works now for our suite buyer or our suite purchaser. Again, eliminating the PDF, now we can see everything visually. We have the ability to add things to our cart. That gets to that ease of payment, frictionless, tying products and packages together as well, based off of data that we find. So that's that upsell, cross-sell. And then what our second bullet here too says is, aside from just pictures and general titles, we have the ability to tailor messaging, descriptions, include information about these products. I think it's another great part to leverage some of our brand partners as well. And then finally with checkout, this is where a lot of the information gets pulled straight through to. We have a couple of partners, which Carson will get into in terms of in-suite ordering, where we can, in a sense, sort of pre-populate the suite number, which I think is really unique. With payment, one of the things that we are very excited about, among having multiple payment methods, so credit card, debit card, Apple Pay, versus Google Pay, based off of what sort of phone or device you're using, we have just added the ability to open a tab as well. So that suite buyer can open a tab. Isabella mentioned this previously. They can also set a threshold, a max purchase amount, so that when we show up on game day, Isabella is the big bad boss. She ordered the suite, but she's not coming. Carson and I are ready to have a great time in the suite. When we go to make any sort of that in-suite purchase, we can see that there's a tab. Isabella left us room to continue to order. Once we eclipse that, it'll be reliant on someone to create a new tab. But I think it's unique how we can incorporate that into this pre-order so that that card is on file. And although the suite buyer might not be there, they still have some control over what's happening or what's going on in the suite. Mm-hmm. You can see there the ability to tip for that user too, very high level, but a breakdown of what their service charges and fees will look like. Kind of a receipt of payment.
Yes, and all the receipts with itemized details will be sent to the inbox of sent via email, so you have a copy of everything. So that's the pre-ordering part of it. If you have any questions, feel free to send it through the chat and we'll get to them later. But for now, let's move on to, now is the big game day. What's going to happen inside the suite?
Yep.
Carson?
Kind of transitioning. I mean, this is kind of the name of the game, right? So for the suites, whether your venue has, a handful of suites all the way up to, we just are onboarding an MLB partner and they have over 68 suites to do it. And so what our team does is provide a unique URL code so that, as an example, here's kind of the A-frame that it would sit on a tabletop. The guest suite would scan that QR code and it would go to that specific suite, so that if you think about it from a fulfillment perspective, if I order from this QR code, it's going to be suite A. If I order from a different suite down the row, it's going to be suite C. And then so we have it set up such that when you scan that QR code, and it goes straight to that menu, but we already identified exactly where that suite is and where it needs to be sent to. And we'll get a little bit more about the fulfillment process, but let's go to the next step. which is, before we get there, yeah, part of our team does support a lot of the marketing and design during our onboarding process. So we're pretty hands-on during that to provide, and without overbearing, right, these customers, because I think that's important too. I mean, these are like luxury customers, and you don't want to like spam them with all of this stuff like order here, order here, order here. You want to do it kind of conspicuously, and we kind of can help provide some of the designs and ideation of what that can look like. Getting into it, I mean, this is something, this has been kind of a fun process, because your suite menus, day of event menus, can get pretty complex as we are learning, and we can get very customizable. So when you scan that QR code, let's say we're doing delivery to the suite, we can add things like combinations to certain items. I mean, and we can talk all day about how we're approaching this right now, between, if you were providing buckets of alcoholic beverages to providing merchandise, and what are the different sizing looks like, to adding things on a combination, as we see here in this example that's laid out. But we can get very granular, and our team does a great job of taking that PDF menu, whatever it was before, digitizing it, not only digitizing it, but how do we make it like so that it is as frictionless as possible for that user to place an order. It's seamless in the sense that we're putting the category, all of it can be customizable, and we provide kind of recommendations as to how we go about doing that. So next slide. And then lastly, so the checkout process. So guests can either place their purchases, their a la carte orders, using their existing credit card system, and we process payment, and it's all PCI compliant, or they can do it with a credit card, Apple Pay, Google Wallet, like Drake kind of alluded to on the pre-ordering. But this is a new feature that I'm really excited about, the ability to open up a tab. And here we kind of show what that experience looks like as a guest. You can create kind of that threshold or that balance, and then when you do that, right, that QR code that scans is now tied, that balance is tied to that unique QR code, so that guest in that other suite online scans their own unique QR code. That balance is only appropriate for that suite. And so we kind of have that set up in the system to ensure that that is, secure. But really cool feature, really excited to test, the utilization and how, and impact, what that, how that actually impacts the, average order sizes on game day. But something that, we got a lot of positive feedback on, and really excited about. And last but not least is the fulfillment process. So what we've also learned by partnering up with all the different types of suite operations is that one venue might have a single fulfillment pantry that they want to send all orders to, which is great. Keeps it easy for us. Another might have different concourses where we might send, suites A through C might go to, the pantry A, and the other suites might go to pantry B. So we can set it up such that orders can be, sent to different pantries. Another way that we can actually do fulfillment as well is by splitting up between hot and cold food. We also learned that sometimes we want to send hot food to this kitchen, and we want to send cold food to that pantry for fulfillment. And something that, I think our team has done a really exceptional job as is really understanding what that operation looks like, because no venue is created equal, and understanding what that operational flow looks like, and then being as accommodating as possible to that process. So we're, making that hopefully more efficient. So we have that set up to go that way. And our system is entirely web-based, meaning that so when an order comes through, whether that's, using one of the FanFood tablets or an existing tablet, or web-based system, you process orders there. And we also have configured receipt printers for each individual pantry, where you can, get a receipt printer with every order as well, to make that ordering process very easy. And then lastly, the server or that suite attendant can process the order and help streamline that by leveraging an app that is tailored to them, to help with that communication to the suite customer, to let them know where their order is at every step of the process. So that's the fulfillment side of the platform.
As you can see, super easy and everything's synchronized together. All the apps speak to each other, which means it saves a lot of time on communications and you don't even have to worry about it because it's all automatic. It's like magic. So
How do we get
how do we
started?
get so how do I get started? Um, well, it's super easy. We are not super aggressive when it comes to trying to get you to use us, but we rather take a more consultative approach because, as Carson said, every venue is different. And Drake and his team has done a tremendous job tailoring the solution for every partner by understanding their operational model and see if FanFood even is the best solution for you. If not, it's fine. If it is, we will make sure that you are set up for success. So it takes 3 steps to get started with us. First, of course, we have to have an introductory call with one of our specialists so we can understand what your needs are, what your pain points are, and if we are a good solution. So to do that, you simply go to fanfood.app/start and submit a form on there, and our team will be in touch. And then we'll try to recommend the best setup of pricing for you. So we do have a very flexible pricing model based on the number of suites you have, or if you're looking at our mobile ordering solution, that will be a slightly different pricing model. But either way, we'll try to make it for you, make it more suitable for your budget. And then will be the onboarding, and that's what Drake's team does. They will digitize your menu, which is no easy feat, but our team has been just exceptional at that. Every time I will go into our menu and be like, wow, this looks so good. And that's their team working the magic. So we will do the legwork for you to set up your stores, including configuring the services you're offering, whether it be delivery, pickup, suite, whatever it is, and we will do the free trainings for you, and it's unlimited number of trainings. And also, add a benefit, the system is super easy, it doesn't take long to learn it. You only need to provide the menu, and we do the rest for you. Cool. So if you're interested, definitely go fill out the form on this page. If you want to learn more about our suite ordering solutions, just to take a look at the screens again, go to fanfood.app/suite ordering, and that's where you can see an overview of our product. You will also receive this deck afterwards if you have to go check in with your team and see what everybody thinks. But as always, if you need anything or need any questions, fill out any form on our website. Our team will be in touch.
And if there's feature sets too, or certain things that we might have not covered and you have certain ideas, oh man, like this would be really cool to have from a technology perspective. We love feedback. That's, we're trying to build a technology experience to help really improve the guest experience for this industry. And we're like super passionate about that. So anything to do to improve our technology, we love any and all feedback.
That's a great point. We are here to help our partners. So whatever it takes to really make your job easier, that's what we're down for. Now here's the fun part, Q&A. So if, again, you haven't submitted any questions, please do so. And I do have a few that were submitted previously.
Awesome.
Yes, we do have quite a number of folks who can't join the session, the recording session today, but just want to make sure that they're also covered. We'll be sending out the recording and also a Q&A full-on recap. So first question will be pricing. What does it look like for smaller venues with fewer suites? Or just pricing in general? How much do venues have to pay to get this suite option? Who wants to take that?
Drake, if you want to.
So
I think we have to kind of understand exactly like what it is, like what the type of smaller venue looks like. There's the two pricing models. We offer one that is more on a SaaS monthly kind of SaaS basis that is that we don't charge on the per order transaction. Alternatively, we've had venues that say, okay, we don't really have much budget for this year. We're planning on budgets for next year. Is there options, that we can, have, what options exist for that? And so we have models where we can take a percentage of the revenue and either apply it on to each order and pass it on to the end user, or take it as a percentage, through the gross sale. So there's a couple of different ways that we can go about doing it, and we're going to be flexible for whatever the needs of that venue looks like. And we'll go through that process once we understand kind of the pain points in a proposal, and we'll detail that out, and we'll provide those options to get feedback on.
Yeah. Sorry about that too, guys. I think I lost you for a sec, but I would echo what Carson mentioned. I think, when you start to break pricing down, and this is not meant to be a cop-out, but when we think about suites, suites is much different than traditional concession stand pickup or delivery. So that there's very much a learning conversational basis that needs to go into place when we start thinking about suites. But again, at its foundation, we pride ourselves in really providing those two models. Whether we want to look at this as what our team would call more of that pay-as-you-go, which is more so focused on some version of a share percentage, whether that's a convenience fee that might be pushed to, the customer for taking advantage of the convenience or the service, or a commission share, which Carson just mentioned there, which is more so focused on sales produced or driven through FanFood. The other idea is moving away from a commission share or convenience fee and moving more towards that traditional SaaS model. So a monthly payment, or of course an upfront, dependent on what might be best for the partner. The other side of this that goes back into that conversation is our pricing. If we want to think about almost like shelves or stages, we will look at this in some cases on a per suite basis. So there is a lot of learning that goes into play. You also think about, and this, something maybe we didn't touch on too much during the pre-ordering versus the in-suite, but those can be looked at as two different products. Whether we want to use both or leverage both is fantastic. We have a lot of partners that are using just in-suite ordering and some that are using just the pre-ordering landing page. So there is some flexibility there.
Perfect. Cool. Second question. Could you elaborate more on how the system route orders? So what does it look like from the kitchen's perspective? How do they receive the orders? What does the receipt look like? And how do they separate the orders, or whatever, like dispatch the orders once they're down to different suites?
Yeah. So from a dispatching perspective, like we have a 3-step fulfillment process. When an order comes into the system, you grab it, which sends a communication back to the guest to saying, yep, we acknowledge that we received your order. It's in the kitchen. And it goes to then step 2 being in progress, right? So while that order is being worked on, it goes to a separate tab in our fulfillment, kind of like a KDS, kitchen display kind of system, on our manager portal. And once that is complete, it goes to done, the 3-step process. So we let the customer know that the order is being worked on. And now it's either A, being delivered, or B, it's ready for pickup. So pretty seamless on that fulfillment process. Drake, if you want to talk about, the routing mechanisms, how we go about doing that, that's all you.
Yeah, for sure. So the nitty gritty, without diving too much into the product itself, is we essentially tag the product or the item as cold food, hot food, snack pantry, alcohol versus beverages, understanding that depending on the size of our venue or the number of suites we have, we might not fulfill all of our orders out of just one suite kitchen. We've also had a lot of conversations with our suite partners too that say, when we get an in-venue or day of event suite order that has hot dogs and burgers and popcorn and beer or dessert, a lot of our partners are fulfilling those orders as those items are ready.
Yep.
In other words, when the alcohol is ready, when the beer cart or the beer bundle is ready, the beer bundle is going to be brought to the guests.
Yep.
So that's another benefit that we saw with starting to route orders to the appropriate team or fulfillment team, is we don't want something that's ready to wait on our hot dogs or burgers that might have a longer fulfillment time just based off of cook times. So that's one side. The other side, again, is that we know that orders are not typically filled or might not be filled out of just that one section. So logistically, what we do is we tag your items and product based off of the feedback that you give us. And that's how it's determined and broken out as orders are getting shot to the right team of who's in charge of fulfilling this.
Yep. And during that onboarding process, once we do have that all set up in the system, we will go through a couple of test live orders and make sure that is exactly meeting the needs of your current operation.
Nice.
Next question.
Last one. We have time for about the last question. How do I make sure my guests are using it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you can encourage your guests. I think you can like encourage your guests, but at the same time, it's not required, right? It's an added amenity to some degree for your luxury guests, right? If that's something that they want to do. Me personally, as a co-founder who built an on-demand technology experience, it's like, if convenience wasn't an expectation pre-pandemic, it absolutely is a must-have in today's society, especially as we're starting to welcome guests back. So just to even have that there, I think you're now giving your guests peace of mind. And then B, it's just, improving your kind of on-demand ordering experience. And so it's kind of the day and age. That's how we do it. So
yeah, to your point, this stats we've seen on our platform, at least before COVID, percentage of people using mobile ordering is about definitely around 10%. That would be good, 10 to 20. That will be on the high end. But this year, since last summer, it's been 30% to 100%. Many of our partners process all of the orders through FanFood, because it's been night and day. So just to your point, it's an added immunity, but it's also almost an expectation. These days, if you go to any restaurant, if you sit down, you expect to see a QR code where you can scan and get a PDF menu. For this, it's basically the PDF menu for your suite, just like a restaurant. But an added benefit is they can also order directly on that menu. It's not just a PDF, it's actually a smart menu. So that in itself is, I would say, a pretty compelling case to anybody entering the suites. Drake, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, Carson, you finish your thought too.
Yeah, no, that's
Carson,
a good point, because it was like, like pre-pandemic, what we've seen too, like with traditional ordering was like kind of like a one-to-one relationship. So it's like, if you're only going to get up out of your seat and, go place an order like probably once, a game. And what we've seen like through our system is that every other fan is placing 2 or more orders through the system. I mean, like that right there, like to improve not only the average order sizes, but the frequency of which customers do place orders. Any way that we can help improve like the per caps inside venues, I think is a positive. So yeah, that was a good point, Isabella.
Yeah, I love it. And two, suites are unique because these are our premium buyers. These are our highest purchasers. So that, the expectation that Carson, you and Isabella mentioned is 100% correct. The other idea is, and I talk about this with a lot of our partners, we don't necessarily want to replace the hospitality aspect. A lot of our suite buyers who purchase a suite every year and lease a suite every year is because they love their suite attendant and they love their suite server and they love the team. So it's not about completely replacing that individual. It's just about making the communication, the relationship there even smoother. We think about the digital menu. Isabella mentions, at least the restaurants I've gone to, no more menus. Everything is by a QR code. Well, the digital menu is great, but by allowing someone to purchase through that menu too, you're kind of in a sense activating that relationship. It's like when we have our brand partners and we think about how we're going to get our local brewery to activate within the ballpark. by being able to bring that menu to someone's hand and allow them to pay, we're activating that process. And in a lot of cases, whether it's the pre-order landing page versus the in-suite ordering, we're also making the payment very, very easy. I've said it a few times, but we're bringing it to life. We're making it more fun. We're making it more effective. We're also bringing all the payment right to their fingertips. We can pay with an existing card. We can manage all of our events. If we're a leaseholder, we're not even talking about just baseball games, but concerts and alternative events. I can manage all of those events in one spot. It becomes my account where I can start to look at all of this. I can save my card information, like we just mentioned. I can open tabs for my guests. So for us, and it is biased because this is what we do and we're excited about it. And we're happy to help our partners make that transition. But I always just like to tiptoe that line of, I don't want to replace your suite attendant per se. I just want to make sure that they're able to do their job better and also make that experience in suite for that guest a little bit nicer as well, which play to that premium experience.
Totally.
100%. And just to add on to that, just because I work in marketing, but we help you with marketing and we are very hands-on with every partner. And we help you look through all the marketing capabilities you have from physical, digital, whatever it is. And we provide recommendations and sometimes full on do it for you. When it comes to design, copywriting, just like the mock-up that we showed you during the webinar. Yeah, designing, giving you the QR code, telling you where to best place them, things like that. And that's really what sets us apart from a lot of other players in the industry as well. We are step by step with our partner, really walking alongside you to make sure that you're in good hands and you're taken care of. Because this can be scary territory. It's a new system, it's a new technology, a new platform. We don't know what's going to happen. And that's why we're with you every step of the way to make sure that you know exactly what to expect, what to anticipate, and you are taken very good care of. So that's what we're proud of.
And I credit to Isabella and marketing and all of the ideas that they've curated, especially through 2020. You know, I think what's funny for us on the operator side in logistics is we plan and we plan and we plan and we have our go live date and all of this effort goes into making sure that the operation is smooth. And then gates open and we get guests in the suites and we go, why is no one using this? You know, there's a whole nother element here that is dependent on the education and communication that we can provide, not just in venue and in suite, but digitally, socially, email, capturing that customer who's captive at home on a Tuesday so that they can scan the code and visit and explore the app before they come out on Friday to make that, again, one step easier. So of all of the operational planning that I get to do, which is fantastic, it doesn't work on game day when fans actually show up and enter the building and tickets are scanned unless we've provided the proper communication.
Mm-hmm.
Totally, 100%. All right. So those are all the questions we have for today. If you have any lingering questions that you haven't gotten to ask today, feel free to email marketing@fanfood.app.com and we'll take it from there. So again, visit our website, check out what we have and submit a form if you want to get in touch. Thank you everyone for joining us. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you, Carson and Drake, for entertaining all of us. We've learned a lot from you. Well, till next time, we'll probably have another webinar next month. So stay tuned.
Thanks for setting this up, Isabella.
Yeah, thank you guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.